Okay, everyone, new chapter in your lives, chapter 7. So this first lesson is actually lesson 7.2. We're skipping lesson 7.1. But chapter 7 is all about this concept called factoring. All right, that's what chapter 7 is all about, factoring. This lesson in particular is about what's called the GCF method. Now, that phrase GCF, I hope is familiar to you because you're going to need to know what a GCF is to do this lesson. GCF stands for greatest common factor. Okay? Greatest common factor. And when you were in elementary school, you talked about greatest common factors. Like when you had to do fractions, you would have to get common denominators. And you would do things like greatest common factors and least common multiples during those units in elementary school. So let's just talk real quick about what a factor is. So like the number 8 has multiple factors to it. Factors are basically the numbers that you could multiply to get your original number back. So the number 8 has the factors 2 and 4, right? 8 is also 1 times 8, right? And it's 2 times 4. So all those numbers are factors of 8. 1, 2, 4, and 8 are all factors of 8. Now in algebra, the trouble is that we're also going to be involving variables. So like, see this 12x to the 5th power here? So you have to come up with the factors of 12 and also factors of x to the 5th power. So one way of doing that is saying, okay, 12 could be 4 and 3, and x to the 5th, so there's the 4 and there's the 3, and x to the 5th could be written as x to the 3rd and x squared, okay? So that is one way of factoring 12x to the 5th. Now, this lesson is all about the greatest common factor, the GCF, all right? So when we do these examples and it tells us to factor out the greatest common factor, you have to come up with the GCF of the numbers 4 and 24, okay? So, in other words, what number is the greatest number that goes into both of those? So on the side here, I'm just going to write, I don't want it that thick. I'm just going to write over here all the factors of the number 4 and then all the factors of the number 24, okay? So the factors of 4 are 1 times 4 and 2 times 2, right? 24 has a lot more of them. It's 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and also 4 times 6. Okay? Now, if you're looking for the greatest common factor, that means what is the highest number that is common to both 4 and 24? AKA, what's the highest number that they share in common of their factors? Well, 4, right? 4 is a factor of 4, and 4 is a factor of 24. It's a factor of both numbers. So the GCF of 4 and 24 is the number 4 because it appears in both lists. Okay? Now for the tricky part. You also have to come up with the GCF of x to the 4th and x to the 3rd. Okay? So x to the 4th is x times x times x times x, right? X to the 3rd is x times x times x. How many x's do they have in common? Well, in common means how many like basically overlap in each term. So basically, see how all of these x's are also in common with those 3 x's? So x to the 4th and x to the 3rd, the GCF of those two is x to the 3rd because they have 3 x's in common. Okay? So then, now that we have our GCF, we're almost done. Okay? So what you do is you rewrite this expression as the GCF on the outside, and then you put parentheses, and then you figure out what you need to write on the inside of the parentheses to get back your original equation. So basically, okay, my original equation is 4x to the 4th power, and I have 4x to the 3rd power out here. So that means I need an x to the 1st to go there, because if we were to distribute this back, it would give us our original thing back, 4x to the 4th power. And then we have a plus sign. And then, okay, now we need to get to 24x to the third power. So if we have 4x to the third power and we need to get to 24x to the third power, we would need to multiply by 6. Okay? And that's it. That is our answer right there. That is our factored GCF expression. Okay? We're going to stop this video and then do another one.